I'm old. Just want to put that out there. Old. Also, I'm Scotty. You're not. Welcome to my review for Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Once and Always. I'm pretty sure I'll be watching this again. Big LT is supposed to come over on Friday. He said he wanted to watch it. For some reason, he's just a fan of the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, which I'll never understand. Like, oh, I stopped watching once it changed, and I'm just like, why? Like, for me, it was Power Rangers, period. I didn't care that things changed. I liked the idea that things changed after a while. I mean, we had 3 seasons with the same suits. And then they decided we're going to change it now. And they did. So, and it's been doing that for 30 years, and that's what this is, the 30th anniversary. Few things before I start, alright? There's been a lot of talking about certain people aren't in this. You know, Amy Jo Johnston. There's been Twitter controversy with her because people are going off because a rumor was spread that she didn't do it because of money. That's not why she didn't do it. She didn't have time to fly over to New Zealand, which is where they were filming, and she's almost 50 years old. She didn't think a 50-year-old in a suit would be, you know, I don't know if appropriate is the word, but maybe she didn't like the idea of being 50 and wearing a suit. Where, you know, I think most of this is just either suit or out of suit. And easily they could just had a stunt performer do it if that was the case. I don't think they're shown just without the helmets on. I think it's just either full suit or out of the suit. Another one was Austin St. John, Jason. His character is here. He is not here. There was other controversy with him. There were some allegations that were put out that I believe are totally false. There are some allegations where you have to go, but this just comes out of nowhere. So, I don't know. I'm not going to try to push one way or another. If you believe it, fine. If you don't, that's fine. I personally don't believe the allegations that are against him because it just comes out of nowhere. And he, you know, he seems like a very down-to-earth guy. Although, you know, it's been done before. Normal people will seem normal and, you know, they could be the biggest scum on earth. Who knows? But I don't believe in him. And then there's Jason David Frank. This was filmed before he passed away. And a lot of people were saying, well, he could have come back and done it before. He retired from the character of Tommy before. So he declined going to do this. He said he was done with the character. He retired from Power Rangers. That was it. He just wanted to do the circuit thing. He was working on his passion project, White Dragon, Legend of the White Dragon, which is going to happen after years and years of being filmed. And I was very excited for it. And then he passed away. I'm like, we're never going to get this. We are going to get it. And it's something that Aaron Shunke, I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name wrong or right, is doing a sort of a passion project. It was Jason's passion project to get out there, so they're going to finish it. And so, yeah. So those are the 3 missing things. And yes, it would have been cool if they could include them. Although, as many, you know, back when Forever Red came out, people complained that Rocky wasn't in it. And I've pointed out before, it wouldn't have made sense. I mean, I guess Rocky could have they tried to get him and he didn't get to the phone in time, so he didn't answer. So that was it. But in my opinion, I don't think it would have worked because there was 10 Rangers, right? 10 years, 10 Rangers. He would have thrown it off. It'd be 11 Rangers. And you know, as a question of how would he have morphed, there's one thing where, you know, obviously, Jason was using the Dino coin in that. He could have been like the Ninja coin. It'd be like Red Ranger Power, you know? Done that. Who knows? Oh, he could have had like a side role in this. Something. I don't know. But he came back for the 25th anniversary special, which was cool. And now he's here. Steve Cardenas is Rocky. I think that this special works. I was iffy when the trailer came out and they showed they were killing off Trini. because when I saw the trailer, I felt like, they've done a good job of previously establishing Trini as still being around, even though the actress, Thai Tran, I mispronounced that name, died in a car accident in 2000. Okay? But they've done a good job of representing that character. The 20th anniversary special, the big ultimate battle that nobody really cares for, I think it's okay. A lot of representation from Power Rangers there, and the main Ranger team is there, albeit just stunt performers basically, but they show the Yellow Ranger, and that is supposed to be Trini. And then in Beast Morphers, season 2 of Beast Morphers, when Jason comes back for his first appearance in 27 years, he brings the other team with, but they're already morphed because couldn't get to come back. Maybe they didn't have enough time to do all that. Who knows? But it is implied that that was Trini, and so keeping that character around without showing the character worked. So the trailer for me, where they completely show you that he killed her off. To be fair, it's the first scene, so it's not really spoilers. It's the first scene in the damn special. I hesitate to call it a movie because it's 55 minutes. That's like an hour. That's a special. Although the movies are just a little bit over an hour. Like Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves, 75 minutes. That's like 10 minutes over an hour, 15 minutes, whatever. But anyway, yeah, I'm gonna review that later today, so just wait for that. But I can't wait. Anyway, so yeah, that was a little bit iffy in the trailer for me. I was like, I don't know. I don't know if I like that. Seeing it through the special, though, I think it worked. However, I felt like there were too many scenes of the daughter. This is supposed to be a 30th anniversary special honoring the Rangers that came before. They kind of do sprinkle that throughout, but there are way too many. Like, if you're going to have a daughter in it, do it as an ensemble. There is too many scenes of we're just with her. Like, at one point, she takes off and does her own thing, and I'm just like, why are we following her? The Rangers go to do their plan. Let's go do the plan. No, we're going to follow teenage her running over putties and then doing something she was told not to do, but does anyway, and gets kidnapped. It's the only reason why that scene's really in there, but it's like, why are we following her, right? If you're going to have her kidnapped, sorry to say, I would have her be kidnapped at the funeral, when they go to the funeral. I'm just saying, I felt like the teenager in this was unnecessary, and it bogged it down a little bit, to be honest. The whole thing at the end, it works, but I felt like every time I was there to see the original Rangers, and when it cut back to her, I would go, why? This is about the original Rangers, right? They made it work in the end. They came full circle with that character, but I felt like there was too many scenes. Like, maybe she should have been captured at the beginning. I'm going to go through the plot here, but maybe she shouldn't have been captured at the funeral, but I felt like at some point, maybe not have so many scenes with her in it by herself. She should be part of an ensemble or something. Maybe she jumps on, she grabs Zach's arm and they're teleporting, and she ends up going with them. I don't know. Or she teleports herself and goes to help them. Who knows? But I don't know. I felt like there was a point where it was established she was going to stay at the command center. That was it. And Zach talked her out of going for revenge, and it just, basic teenager, through one ear, out the other. But I felt like we established something. Only for, like, no, we have to write it like this, so she does this and gets captured, so we have moment at the end. Anyway, let's go through the plot, okay? We start off with a text crawl, which is not read by Zordon like in the movies, or Zordon in Turbo movie. They'll see it in the movie. Anyway, just a little blurb, and then we cut to Billy, fighting against Robo Rita and her putties. Zack and the others teleport in. Of this group, Zack and Billy are the only ones we see unmorphed because, one person had passed on, the other two were not in the special, so... And I'll say it so you know. And then one passed on afterwards. Okay, he was alive when they filmed the special, so I'm going to just refer to he said no. I'm going to say, for future reference. All right. So, they show up, they have a fight, and then Robo Rita, as they call it. Okay, so I was a little thrown off in the trailer by this as well. Barbara Goodson comes back to do the role, the voice, Robo Rita. All right. It sounds the same, but to me, it's a little off. Like, of course, she's aged many years, so her voice is not going to sound the same as it did in 1993 when she recorded it. But it does sound a little bit off. And even later, they have her redub her dialogue from Day of the Dumpster, and it doesn't sound right. It's like, why'd they have her redub it? Just use the dialogue from the first episode. They did that in Beast Movers where they showed footage and redubbed over the lines, and I'm like, people are like, oh, but they weren't there to redub over. Why are you redubbing over the lines? Just use the footage, the lines from the footage. Why are you redubbing? Why? Just take the footage you own, put it in there, and do it. Why are we redubbing over the lines? They did that with Lord Zed in Beast Morphers when he came back. He sounded terrible. And even in season 1, or no, he didn't come. Well, in the footage, they overdubbed. He sounded terrible. And then when they had him back in Fury, season 1, he didn't sound very good. He sounded better in season 2, but still not. Robert Axelrod did the voice. He passed away, so they couldn't get him to come back. But you got Barbara Goodson. She still sort of sounds like Rita. She brings back, well, not yet. So she goes to kill Billy, and they say killing this far more than any one episode of Power Rangers ever did. Far more than any of the series. They always use destroy, which I never, caught on. Which I always wondered how destroy is a softer word than kill. Because kill's one is destroy is. So I don't know how destroy is a better word than kill, but they say kill quite a bit in this. She goes to kill Billy with her magic wand, red ball of fire thingy, and Trini jumps in the way, sacrifices herself, she dies. And then we got to demorph Billy and Zack, and they are trying to figure out how to tell Trini's daughter Min about what happened. I don't know why some people are up in arms on this. Well, there was one person I don't memorize people's names. I just know that you're jerk-offs who want to complain about everything. But this one guy is complaining, he complained about almost everything in this special before I'd even seen it. It wasn't really spoilers, it was basic stuff. The CGI in the Zords is bad. Yeah, but obviously this guy hasn't watched Power Rangers for all 30 years to know how the CGI works. To me, it's it's pretty much the same as in Dino Fury. Didn't bother me, right? And then they basically went out of their way to shit all over the fact that Trini has a daughter when apparently Tai Tran couldn't have children. Either she wasn't able to have children or she died before she had a chance to. I don't know. And I'm trying to defend this, being this is like a movie, right? Actors who never had children can play people who have kids in movies, right? There's a famous thing, movie. I can't remember it off the top of my head though. It's very infamous where he didn't want anything to do with kids. The actor, I don't know what it was, but there have been actors who don't have kids, want to do with kids, but acted with kids in movies. And, or don't have kids, never had kids, but acted with kids in movies, had kids in movies. that happens. That happens. Whether, the actor has them or not. So I don't understand that. But anyway, she has a teenage daughter, and they're arguing about what, and they just blurb out, which I felt like this was a little forced, where it's like, we can't say that her mom's a Power Rangers. We can't tell her that we're Power Rangers. She has to know that Rita killed her mother. And right there, she heard everything. Boom. It's right out there. I was like, eh. Okay, and then we cut to 1 year later. Yeah, that's right. 1 year later. And 1 year later, they're having a funeral. Why the hell did it take a year to have a funeral? It makes me think we want to have a funeral scene, but we want to also have a time jump. But instead of having the funeral, then time jump, you have to have this scene at the funeral, but it has to be a year later so Rita can perfect her plan she wants to do. So it's very convoluted why it takes a year to have a funeral when you usually have it a few days after the death. I don't know, but so when they go to tell Min at first, it says Quan on the mailbox. Now a year later, it says Quan and Taylor. So Zach now lives there. Apparently he was a congressman, which is why he was wearing a suit when we first saw him. He's a congressman, apparently he was. He gave up his congressman job to take care of her. Billy now owns a tech company which houses the command center underneath, which I think is kind of cool. This is why it looks different. A lot of people complained it looked different in the screenshots they showed. And it's like, well, that's why it looks different. It's a different company. It has to look different. I like it. But hold on a minute. Got thirsty. Anyway, so they're talking about what happened, and then they go to the funeral. And as soon as they're driving in the Red Bug, by the way, Red Bug 2. It's blue because it's Billy's now. And I'm like, that's a Red Bug. But they get there, and you hear the voice call out, Pterodactyl, Dragon Sword, Pterodactyl, and no, Billy is already there. That's right. Billy's already there. I think Zach and Min are just walking up, I guess. And you hear the four of them call out, and here they got the dialogue from the previous morphs, because it's JDF, it's Austin St. John, it's all of them doing the call. So they were able to take the audio from previous episodes before. Why can't you do it now, Hasbro? You know what I mean? But yeah, and so they show up, and Zach's like, you gotta stay here, I gotta go help them. So he morphs and goes to help them, but Tommy, Jason, and Kimberly are kidnapped. Because there are Rita has two repurposed monsters, robot versions of the Minotaur and Snizzard. And Snizzard takes them captive with his snake tongue thing, and Rita plans to use them in some evil plan, which is explained later. Billy, Zach, and Min escape in Rad Bug 2, which ends up flying. They're like, we gotta get out of here. What are we gonna do? And I'm like, is that the Rad Bug? Sure enough, flies up into the air, and they end up going back to Cranston Industries, or the command center within Cranston Industries, where we meet Alpha 9, voiced by the original Alpha voice actor, which I don't remember off the top of my head. I'm sorry, but it's that voice. It's Alpha 9. So they just implemented the voice and everything after Alpha 7, I guess. Because we see Alpha 8 in a flashback. We'll find out what happens to him in a minute here. But they go back to the command center, discuss what happened, and this is when they call all Rangers to arms. And so we get Rocky and Kat. And here's where we get confirmation that Tommy and Kat are married and that JJ is their son. because she talks about being at JJ's soccer game or something, and I went, wait, they just confirmed that they got married and did. Okay. I guess that works, because I was wondering, okay, Tommy has a son, who's the mom? This confirms that. So whether it was originally meant to be, because remember, the 25th anniversary special was handed by Saban, not Hasbro, and now this is Hasbro. So whether they saw that and went, let's just confirm it's Cat. We got a Zeo episode that confirms that JJ, or that they got married. So they see their grandsons in that episode. So JJ is their dad, I'm assuming. I guess it works. I still don't count that as canon, but I guess if they're pushing that together, I don't know, maybe it could be. But I don't want to think of that horrible old man makeup on Jason David Frank. Anyway, so they come in and they were taken right out of wherever they were. They just were teleported right there. So she was at a soccer game, I think it was, and he was at a fire department eating Chinese food. And we found out later that Alpha threw away the noodles. And then we find out what happened, how Robo Rita came to be. Billy was trying to bring back Zordon. After the Zordon wave destroyed all the evil in the galaxy for a few months until the next series of Power Rangers, the evil waves the waves were dispersed across the galaxy, and so he finds some kind of powerful entity and tries to bring it back. It turns out it is actually Rita's evil energy, and it takes over Alpha 8, turning him into the Robo Rita, which doesn't really make sense if you think about it, but it's Power Rangers. You're never gonna take this serious. It's Power Rangers, right? I'm gonna say this before I continue. It does look good. You got Ron Wasserman doing the music again. It sounds really good. And you have you're using actual suit performance instead of Sentai footage. I did a review on the first 3 seasons of Power Rangers, right? At least the first season is probably the worst way they did the Sentai footage and the regular footage, because all the Sentai footage is grainy as hell and looks grainy as hell. It has not aged very well. It's grainy as hell. You can tell that things are, even in some of the other stuff they use for Turbo, there's sometimes when you see what is his name? Elgar, that, hey, turkeys! Arrivederci! Turkeys! That guy, Elgar. Sometimes when he's a regular thing, he looks like a big suit guy. He's like a suit guy. And then when he's Japanese, it looks a little bit different. So with Japanese footage, even in the movie, it looks like, when he's on a set, he looks regular. But then when they're out in the open, he looks a little bit different. I don't know. And even Turbo's not the best season anyway. But I'm just saying. So yes, where was I? Last track. So it's Billy's fault that Rita is back, and he's, paying for it. Zach basically tells her that they're going to deal with it, and she needs to stay out of it, but she wants revenge, and he's like, my mentor once told me that revenge is not the way, you need, a hero, whatever. And you get that whole speech. And, she tries to take the yellow morpher. Okay, so we get some spots here. There's a Vulcan skull sign that I don't know what it was for, but I popped because I thought they were going to show up. They even played the music. Dun, 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 but the sign gets destroyed. That's it. I'm like, oh. And then you got the youth center again. And a lot of people... I was watching reactions for this. People were saying, oh, they're going back to the 90s. But no, that's just the way it looked. They even comment later. It's like, this place hasn't changed at all. It's a bit smaller. Maybe we just grew. Not really. You guys were 20 when he did the first Power Rangers, they were 20. They were, they weren't actual teenagers. You know what I mean? We actually have an actual teenager being a Power Ranger. I mean, Justin, he was like 11. But still. Or 12, maybe, and he was in high school because he was too smart. Justin? Let's move away from that. But anyway, so Zach basically tells her, hey, stay out of this. She doesn't listen. She shows up at the command center and tries to morph, but it doesn't work. Why? Plot. That's why. Plot. We get plot. Plot says she doesn't morph yet. And she gets her butt handed to her, and then Zach and Rocky teleport in to help her, and then teleport back. And we have this big speech from Zach about, hey, don't do this for revenge. If you want to do this, you got to be a hero. Don't do this. Revenge only lead you to dark places. Don't do it. And we have this whole speech that she's supposed to have learned something, and it does buckus because it doesn't work. So they decide to have a plan. So we get a cameo from Adam and Aisha. There's one here and there's one at the end. Apparently they can only film for a certain amount of time, I guess, because they weren't a big part. Or they just didn't know how to fit them in. They are working for SPA, which I believe is supposed to be Space Patrol Alpha. They talk about the Trubians, which is from Space SPD, which I don't know. They know what Trubians are in 2023? I guess. I don't know. I think it would have been cool if they had Rocky be like, I gotta get home at the end of this, I gotta get home. My son, Sky, he's only 2, but his father should be around more, Something like that, where it's connected. I don't know. They said before it was supposed to be Jason. I think maybe even saying Rocky is a bit too soon. He was wearing a Time Force suit, so I was thinking it could be Wes. But even that is... My thoughts is it could be Alex. And that SPD is way, way in the future. But if we have an SPA in 2023... then I don't know. But, yeah. So, they come up with a plan because they had this device that Billy made that can turn people invisible. So they're planning using that to sneak into the moon base to get their friends back. But they know that Minotaur and Snizzard are going to try to stop them. So they use a big magnet. I had a big magnet. She cloned her own dog. And, stick them to it, right? They are put away, and so the 4 of them teleport invisible. We get the joke. Oh, look, Alpha's stepping on their toes. And they teleport to the moon base. And then, because we have to try to find a way to work her in to it, Min disobeys Zach's order, takes the rad bug, and helps this gay couple. A lot of people might point out that this... Okay, I'll say it was unnecessary because it was unneeded. A lot of people might point out that this is woke. I won't say it's woke, but it's not needed. And added in this way, help, my boyfriend needs help. And I'm just like, you could have put that in an earlier scene at the juice bar or something. When they say to people outside of Ernie's, I'll call it Ernie's, outside the juice bar, whatever. You could have worked that in there. But to have it isolated here, it feels like either one of two options. One, they said we have to have a scene like this in there and shoved it in. Or they had an idea for it and didn't know where to put it, so they shoved it here. And to put it here, it's way right out in the open for people to start picking at on the internet and saying, oh, Power Rangers is being woke. And yes, the character Billy, it's established the character Billy's not gay, but David Yost clearly is. If you wanted to do something with a gay character, why not Billy? Why not say, oh, I gotta get back, my husband's waiting for me? he's very patient, or something like that, where you just have this scene that's very out there, very in your face, and very much gonna catch the ire of a lot of people who hate that stuff being put into movies. I don't like it because I don't like it when they try to make money out of it, which they didn't tout the scene as being in the special, so that's fine with me. The scene worked. I just felt like the way it was placed in there, I didn't hate the scene. I thought it was fine. I think it was unnecessary to have a whole crusade with Min for her to only get captured and disobey the orders that she clearly should have already learned a lesson for. But we gotta have her end up on the moon with them. Like I said, just grab their arm and teleport with them. I'm going to. No! And she's there. No, she's off in the corner. Rita shows up, grabs her. Look! She's already there, and we don't need no nonsense scene of her and the rat bug running over putties and saving a gay couple. Which is perfectly fine if you want to do that, but it's take it out, do a different way. It would have worked, I guess. Once again, she gets there. She tries to morph again, doesn't work. Robo Rita shows up and frees her compatriots and kidnaps Min. Back on the moon. Alright, they notice that there's a bunch of Rangers on there, one of which is the Phantom Ranger. Now, I've seen complaints of this as well. People are like, well, why? This means that Billy wasn't the Phantom Ranger after all. There was, okay, if you don't know, originally in Turbo it was going to be revealed that Billy was the Phantom Ranger. But they weren't able to do that because they didn't have enough time. I still believe that, in spite of what's here. I think Hasbro went, we need recognizable Rangers. Not thinking about the canon, and just threw them in. Now, there's no doubles. Like, you see some Rangers, but there's no doubles. Like, you don't see the Pink Zeo Ranger because Cat's right there. But you see other ones, like the Yellow Zeo Ranger is there, that's Tanya. Someone else wrongly pointed out that it was who was another, was there another Zeo, yellow Zeo Ranger other than Aisha? Aisha was never a Yellow Zeo Ranger. She left and during the Alien Ranger stuff. So there's other Rangers peppered in there. But they're like they're probably the Hasbro figures if you think about it, that they're in there. And I actually almost bought the Phantom Ranger from Walmart in my most recent excursion out to there, but I didn't. I should have. In my headcanon, it's still Billy, and they messed up by putting them in there. I'm just saying. Or, this is Power Rangers. He could have given the mantle to someone else. You ever think of that? He could have been like, okay, I'm going back to Earth. So, here. You're a Phantom Ranger now. It happens. You can pass on the mantle to someone else. So that could be someone else. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. But anyway, they realize that they're gonna have Cat destroy it with her power bow, but Rita's like, you don't know what to do with your friends. So there's a fight, and once again, Robot Rita's about to kill Billy, but Min jumps in the way this time. But instead of getting killed like her mom, it activates the Morpher, and she sees memories, which implies that some part of Trini's soul was put into the Morpher, which does make sense, because when the pink power coin was stolen, Kimberly's life force was dwindling. So it makes sense that there's something of Trini still left in that coin. I'm just saying. They did have to do this whole big transfer ceremony for it to work. So she got the power back. She's connected in some way. And it went through Min, and now she's able to become the Yellow Ranger. We got a big morphing sequence with all 5 of them. And then the Megazord battle. She makes the monster grow, Snizzard grow It's on the moon, and honestly, it'll look better than if they would try to do it in broad daylight. Because, like I said, it's close to the CGI they use for Dino Fury. But, again, they were on a tighter budget here, so it's not as good. But it's fine. I'm used to the CGI battles. You know, anyone who complains really hasn't watched the newer seasons to know. You know, I've watched every season since 1993. I'm old! So I know. You know, I never stopped. Even when, you know, when Time Force started, I judged it. I'm like, I don't know about this. This is not... I almost stopped. And I was like, let me keep watching. And I got into it. And there's a couple other seasons. I was like, I don't know. Beast Morphers was one where I was like, I don't know. And it brought me around. And then the reveal at the end of that season, which I won't spoil here, really got me. I wish they did more with that. Maybe one day I'll talk about that. But, yeah, they morph. They, Billy and Min pilot the Megazord while the others take care of Minotaur, which I don't know why all five of them aren't Megazord, but they destroy this Nizzard. At one point, Billy, I think it's Billy, or is it Rocky? One of them kills, or sort of destroys the Robo-Rita, and it comes back and tries to go. So the plan, I forgot to mention the plan. The plan is to go back in time so that Rita can join up with her younger self. I do this because she says younger. But let's be fair. Rita was an old woman at this point. And by this point, the actress who played Rita, because the original actress who played Rita, the Japanese actress from the Sentai, passed away. Rest in peace. But they recast her in season 2, 3, whenever she became young. They recast her, they made her young. And by now, she would probably be as old as that Rita was then. So younger is not really appropriate. Although this is a robot, so again, it still doesn't work. Though. But anyway, she almost has the plan, but then Billy and Min destroy Snizzard, Robo Snizzard, whatever, and it stops. And then Cat destroys the machine. All the Rangers are saved, but of course we can't show them out there. So Adam and Ace show up. We're gonna take them in our ship and we're gonna restore them. Everything's gonna be fine. And then they're like, okay, I gotta get back to JJ, and I gotta get back. I didn't have lunch. Someone threw away my noodles, and I was like, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. And then we have a scene at the juice bar where Billy and Min are talking over what happened. Zach goes to get smoothies, and they're talking about what happened, and what happened, the Morpher, and says memories. It's never really spelled out what happened. They also asked, hey, you want to go back to Aquitar? And he's like, whatever her name that he was in love with misses him. So that confirms that Billy is not gay, but the actor is, or he could be bi. Who knows? But I don't know. I wouldn't have minded if they revealed that Billy was gay. You know, if he said a line here like, "I got to get back. My husband's probably worried about me." I wouldn't have minded. Minded it, and it would have been better than that whole scene that stands out just right in the open of save my husband, save my boyfriend, please. And it's like, oh, do we need to have it out in the open like that? I don't know. But the scene at the juice bar where they're talking over what happened and they kind of reminisce, and then we cut it. We get a clip from the original series with, I think it's Kimberly. It's from season 2 because Tommy has his ponytail by this point in his green sleeveless hoodie thing. And Zach has his little Jerry curl thing. So it's season 2. And Kimberly's singing the song, and Zach goes to help sing. Oh, by the way, hip hop keto, still cool. I'm just saying he does it. Type of hip hop keto, and she yells out, "Are you breakdance fighting?" It's hip hop keto, of course. But anyway, and then it cuts to in memory of Thai Tran and Jason David Frank, which obviously was put in post. Because at the time they recorded this, like I said, he had passed away yet. A lot of people can be like, see, they honored him, so he did die before this happened. No. It's called post-production. They added him in post-production. They're probably always going to honor her. They put him in after he passed, obviously. And then we're treated to what should have been the opening of this. Basically, the theme song plays. It shows clips of them. It's the opening at the end of the special. Why wasn't this at the opening? Because you wanted to surprise people with who was in it? You showed everyone who was in it in the trailer. Right? And how come the actor who played Ernie and Robert Axelrod don't get mentions in loving memory? They died after Thai Tran did. I know this is all after honor. This is all about honoring Trini, and I feel like they added Jason David Frank just because if they didn't, people would complain. So they had to add him in too. But then there's other, Robert Axelrod, guy who played Ernie. They passed away after Trini, after Thai Tran. So I don't know why they're not. But the two most important ones, the two Power Rangers, that thing. I thought this was good. It's technically a TV thing, so I'm not going to give a rating. But I enjoyed this. I did have tears in my eyes by the time it was done. And I'm old. But I enjoyed this for what it was. I thought it was really good. I thought he did a good job with it. Yes, there's problems, but honestly, it was better. I thought it was better made than the original Power Rangers. At least the first season. It was fine for what it was. And yeah, I liked it. So, okay, I'll preface this. If it was a movie, it'd be to the moon, to be honest, because this ticked all the boxes for me. It made me feel old, made me feel nostalgia, made me long for a time when I was a 6-year-old again. I'm old. I keep saying that. 36 years old. I'm old, man. I'm old. Losing my hair. Once I keep trying to grow it back, it just bald spots, patches that I just want to shave it bald. Honestly, I probably look younger with a bald head because freaking gray patches coming in here and fucking. Anyway, I'm done. I'm gonna go. Thank you for watching. What are your thoughts on my more Power Rangers? Once and always. Comment below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. For those of you wondering why it wasn't called Always a Ranger, Once a Ranger, Always a Ranger, that was the 15th anniversary special. So, yeah, thank you for watching. I'm Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.